Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. It's been a couple of months since I got anything new. So it's about time, a new project, and this one is really something special, at least to me. I don't think I have ever seen one of these in flesh in my country, in this model at least. So getting the chance to actually own one of these is pretty unbelievable. But well, suddenly I got it offered. This is not one of my cheap projects. I have paid some money for this because it's worth it. It's not even a really big project, apparently. It's not pushed in here, for instance. It was delivered to me. I bought it without seeing it. I only saw pictures. I was just like, pretty much no matter how bad it is, I want to buy this because this is exactly what I like when it comes to cars. And the chance of even getting one of these is so slim. So I just had to, to buy it. Try to take a look at the internet. If you can find them, they're not going to be cheap. And for the first time since the Trabant, I got a car delivered that could actually start up and drive down from the trailer all by itself. This is just turn the key, it fires up. No, it's not MOT ready. There is a lot of stuff, but it's actually running. This is a Citroen Visa GTI from 1986. And if you are new to this channel, maybe you don't know, I really like hot hatches from the 80s and the 90s. And I actually had a lot of them through the years. I had the Renault 5 GT Turbo. I had a couple of 106 rallies. I had a Renault Clio 16 valve. And now I got this. And this is exactly what I like about hot hatches. This kind of styling, this kind of setup. The Citroen Visa is really one of those that ticks all of my boxes. I love the look. I love the engine. I like the interior. It's pretty practical, which is a good thing, but but also a bit weird, of course. It's a 5-door. I actually thought it was the only 5-door GTI from the 80s, but I found out that apparently you can get the Golf 1 GTI with 5 doors, but very, very limited. But the Golf 2 GTI was available in a 5-door. But this is pretty rare. And if you look into this, it is pretty much similar to the Peugeot 206 1.6 GTI, but with 5 doors. It's not completely the same. It's the same engine. It's, I think, pretty much the same front end, but the rear end is a bit different. This is not as twitchy, apparently, as the 205 that likes to oversteer, snap oversteer. This one is not supposed to do that as much. So it is actually known by some to be a better handling car than the 205 GTI. But I'm sure that will divide quite a lot of people because the 205 is, of course, a legendary car. And maybe that snap oversteer is part of that history. This one is more unknown because I don't think it was very popular. I think that Citroen failed a little bit on the marketing of this one, and also some of the details on this. It's like they wanted to be part of the GTI stuff, but still they had some quirky ideas that maybe didn't really mesh with the GTI of the 80s. But for instance, there's red striping on the seats. The seats are buckety-like, but still it's made of gray striped wool. But it's a bit old school. It's a bit old soft hat kind of way they have done the seating and the interior. But this car, it's awesome. And I love the car. I love the color. I love everything about it so far. I haven't really looked at it. I just got it delivered. I drove it in here. And I haven't even checked out what's in the boot because I can see parts in there. So it's going to be exciting to reveal what's up with this car and what we're going to do. But one thing I already now know that I would really like to do something about is these. These alloy rims. Oh, I don't like them. I think it was, at least in Denmark, in the late 90s and the start of the noughties. These were so cheap and everyone thought they were looking really smart and cool and a bit wider than the original. And taller and all that. And it was so cheap to get them. So all GTIs in that era got these kind of rims on them, pretty much. And I don't think they fit this car. The original rims for the Visa GTI is awesome. I hope to find some of them, but just something else than this, because this is just not the 80s look that I'm going after. But yeah. So this car has been off the road for many years, but right here is an MOT sticker from 2018. And the guy I bought it from actually got it MOT'd in 2018, but didn't drive it. It just went into storage straight after that. So actually this car has a fresh MOT, but it's too old and it is expired and all that, but it hasn't driven since the MOT. So I think it's pretty close to being MOT ready. But there is some rust issues that I would like to sort, and most likely also some engine stuff. And of course the tires and all that. But I don't think this is going to be a big project in the terms of revival. But I am at the moment really looking forward to driving this car and maybe using this as a daily, because it's practical. I expect it to be okay on gas. It's a fun car. I haven't driven it yet, but all the specs are telling me that this is going to be extremely fun. I owned a 205 GTI 1.9, so I do know kind of the setup, but not this exact, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm not sure I'm going to start this project straight away though. I just wanted to show you, but I think it's going into storage for a while. I have to check out some stuff and see if I can get the right rims and all that, and then start checking out that rust. And I think I'm going to take off the rear subframe, because I think, at least I was told, that there is some play in the bearings, and I actually got an entire extra subframe for it from another model, not a GTI, so I don't know if it's even the same, but I would like to check that out. Also, there is apparently some rust in the top strut thingy. I got a new one of those as well, so there's stuff that needs to be done, but it's not a huge project. But what a car! But let's take a look at the boot. Oh, I like this spoiler thing, and the black surround. Painted surround is also really cool. Really, really cool. I do wonder, now it is metal. So it's not plastic like the BX. So what do we have here? Another tail light, which is nice because it did spot a crack in this one. Yeah, it's a crack right there. But is it the right one? No, it's the wrong one. That's a shame. So I got a spare for the side that is in good condition. I would like another one for this side. What do we have here? We have some plastic bits in Citroen bags. Must be original trim parts. Some surround seals. The side panel for the rear of the trunk. More trim pieces. Even more trim pieces. I don't know what is spares and what is actually taken off from the car, because the rear back here is slightly disassembled, as you can see. This is an extra mirror because there is already 2 mirrors on it. Let's take a look underneath the carpet. Yeah, looks solid enough. It looks like it has been rebuilt once before, maybe, because I think this has been painted. It looks that way. There has done some rust work over here. That is okay. Looks okay. Maybe not the most pretty, but it is a completely covered area, so it doesn't really matter. But I have to check that everything is good and solid there. It's not looking too bad. Then we've got a lot of trim pieces and stuff. Seatings. I think I'm just going to remove all the seatings to see why. To see what's what back here. I love these seats. I love these seats. They are awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, there's an extra one of these. Oh, there's a lot of spare parts for this because... Oh, nice. Oh, there's lots of stuff. Way more than expected. By the way, I got this car from the guy. It's not his. It did belong to his brother, but the same guy I got the BX 4x4 from. So he really got some cool stuff, gotta say. Take a look at all the stuff that's back here. I didn't know that. Oh, this is cool. I love stuff like this. There's an extra airflow meter. Then there's this dash thingy. Oh, it seems to be a lower mileage than the one in the car. Woo! Are these brand new mirrors? Original, it looks like. Mirrors. How cool is that? That's really cool. And another one of these rear hatch shelves. Talking about that, I want to show you something. Look at this piece of string going up through this one and to the partial shelf. And then when you lower down the hatch, it just folds down. That's the most brilliant way to do that I have ever seen. Very simple and effective, because that can be really annoying with those flapping about. I'm completely falling in love with this car like crazy. Oh, it's so awesome. What's this? This looks like one of those armrests for the middle, but I don't think it's a Citroen Visa one because I can't see that fit any place, but maybe. A spare steering wheel. It's the same as the one that's in there, just with chrome instead of black. That gotta be worth something. Antenna and a couple of fan belts and a valve cover gasket. Oh yeah. And then we have some rust down here that needs to be checked out and treated. It's not looking too bad, but that over there is a problem, that's for sure. That needs to be fixed. It looks like the subframe is partly going through the floor. So there's rust work that needs to be done back here. That's not looking too nice. I was expecting rust. I was told that there was rust back here. I think it would be a good idea not to drive this car until I fix that. Okay, so it is time to now go handheld. I'm going to try to keep it as still as possible, but I want to show you what I've found so far. This side is the subframe mount. Everything looks pretty nice here. We got a bit of rust in the edge right here, but nothing too serious. But on the other side, all is not well in Visa country, because this subframe is coming through the floor. That is a problem, of course. I am not hugely surprised because I was warned that there were going to be rust at the subframe area, rear subframe. It is slightly more serious than expected, but to be honest, I'm not too scared of it. But something needs to be done. And this actually makes me a bit worried about even moving this car around, because I don't want to start distorting everything. It's went through the floor here. That means that underneath at the subframe mount, the floor must be rusted or cracked as well. I think it is a mix of stress, cracks and rust. So the subframe is for sure going off very, very soon to fix that rust. That is a problem, but it's not too serious. And to be honest, I think the car seems to be in pretty good condition overall. The rust doesn't seem to be too bad anywhere. It's just localized right here, it seems. But yeah, I'm just going to keep looking. It can be, these kind of plastic bits can hide a lot of rot, of course. Let's take a look at the front part of the cabin. I'm not sure that I can lift up the carpets without removing plastic bits. No, I can't. It's actually rather surprisingly put together, this car, when it comes to stuff like that, at least. The interior, though, dashboard and all that, is funny in its own way, but it is plasticky like nothing else. It's just very, very plasticky. And look at these small, tiny plastic buttons. And here we have the window. It is electric windows, which is pretty cool. And the funky Citroen way of doing, not air conditioned, but you know what I mean. A shoe or a little man with a hat on that I really like. Everything up here looks pretty cool, pretty good. It's a 5-speed, which I really like. I like 5 speeds. The seats are really comfortable. It is, you can really feel that it's a Citroen, not a Peugeot or something else more sporty. It is soft, comfortable to sit in. The seats are actually pretty good. And then there is this, normally we call it a nightmare in my country, but there is a sunroof, which is always a leaking problem on old cars. I don't know if it's leaking on this one, but most likely. To open it, it seems to be a spin thingy. Oh yeah, it's actually working. Nice. I think this is going to work just fine. It's a pretty cool sunroof. But let's take a look at that engine that I really like. Those kind of details. It's not a gas strut, but it's not a manual rod either. It's just this. And then you just make it. Then you just make it go into that like that. And it holds the bonnet open. That's clever, simple, and nice. And here we have the engine. It is supposed to be a 1.6 liters engine. It could be a 1.9. It's a popular upgrade. But it's supposed to be making 115 horsepower, which is plenty enough for a fast hot hatch of the 80s. It's paper thin, this car. It weighs pretty much nothing. Remember, the Citroen Visa was designed to have a slightly more powerful version of the 2CV engine. I think it was rated at 32 horsepower back then. So the increase with this engine is pretty crazy. It's a lot of extra power in a GTI model, comparing it to the normal spec one. But it looks pretty nice in here. There is a lot of rust protection, which makes it look pretty tatty, but it's not rust. That's a good thing. The engine is typically PSA engines. Really messy setup. I really like these cars. I really like these engines, but the way they made this, comparing it to a Toyota or something like that, is just, it's just so messy with wiring and tubes and weird. This is most likely homemade, but I think you know what I mean. I think this is pretty standard stuff that is just cable tied to stuff like like the engine mount and so on. But it's a nice engine, this one. I really like it. Good, nice, powerful, all aluminum engine. It's a cool one. It's a really cool one. But let's try to take a little look underneath the car. We have surface rust, of course, but it's not looking. It seems to have a brand new homemade exhaust system on it. But I'm not seeing any rust in areas that I would normally expect to see bad rust on one of these. The rust you can see here seems to be surface rust. It needs to be cleaned, treated, and painted, but it doesn't seem too bad. Of course, it's difficult to say much about the sills because of this plastic thing. So that needs to come off to repair the rear subframe area anyway, so we'll figure out how bad it is in that area. But this car has been rebuilt at one point, and I think it has been really taken care of after that, because this is not a cream white GTI from factory, it's a silver GTI from factory. It was fixed and painted in a, as far as I know, original GTI color, but not the one that this was born with. And it seems to be a proper job with everything taken apart and doors painted on the inside and all that. So I really think this car was in good condition when they did that. And I know it is Citroen people who owned it. And even though they might have, this of course has been used also, I think it's well taken care of. Also, the spare stash of stuff tells a story about someone trying to take care of a car, in my opinion. So all in all, it's a project, but I don't think it's going to be a very big one to get it on the road. So this is the latest project of the bunch. I think I'm up to 11 cars at the moment. So I hope to sell something soon because I'm running out of space. But anyway, this one I could not, it would not be possible to say no to this car. I love it. It's going to be such a cool project, such a fun project, and such a cool car in the end. My plan was to wait a bit with this project because I got other stuff that I need to do first. Right now I'm slightly concerned by that subframe. I don't really like to move it too much around because I don't want it to collapse completely in that area. But we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you like the latest addition to the fleet. And yeah, see you in the next one.